The second of recorded reviews today, this for Alita Battle Angel, based on the manga and the anime of Battle Angel. Now, given Hollywood's track record with regards to adapting anime into live action, you'd only need look at Street Fighter, which I know is a guilty pleasure for some people, including Random. It's okay for me, it wasn't my thing. Dragon Ball Evolution, the less we say about that movie the better. And the absolute train wreck that was Ghost in the Shell. Although I will give it to Weta Workshop for the props and the general aesthetic look of translating the written and animated aspects into the picture. I thought that was well done. The writing, however, it was a rehash of the original with some bits that just didn't make any sense. And oddly enough, it was actually one of Scarlett Johansson's better performances, but considering the Major didn't have that much charisma in the movie, she didn't exactly need a lot. And for context, that's constructive criticism, not hating. Do not confuse the two. They're two different things. But considering this is James Cameron, who's been heavily behind this project since its inception, and we know how much of a fan he is of Japanese anime, or just anime, whichever your preference. You know, he was a huge fan of the original Ghost in the Shell and Blood the Last Vampire. But it begs the question, can he do what others didn't do for live-action anime? Who knows? In 2 hours, we will find out. MJ Knight, out. Right, I'm actually doing the spoiler-free review for Alita, because at the time when I got out of the movies, there was a lot of people out in the park adjacent to the shopping centre, and it's very difficult for me to focus when you got to stop to let people by, and they're like, oh, look at that guy, you know, filming himself. It's like, what, you've never seen a YouTuber before? Anyway, I'm going to get on and, you know, do the spoiler-free, which as ever will, you know, be reasonably short and straight to the point. Now, for those that are fans of the manga series Gundam, also known as Battle Angel Alita, if I happen to miss something out with regards to references to the cyberpunk series, I have never read a single manga book about Battle Angel, nor have I ever seen the anime series, so I'm only going by what I've seen with the movie today, and only that. In terms of the writing, the pacing of the story is very quick-paced. I do feel like some set pieces feel like they're going a little too quick, but at the same time, you get to know who these characters are, and you have sympathy for the lead protagonist, which is Alita. And I actually like the way her character's portrayed, especially by the actress Rosa Salazar. I hope I said that name correctly. And she is the heart and soul of this movie, and she is just an absolute joy to watch. You know, you see this optimism in her eyes as Alita, the way she's just, you know, looking around at the world and who she interacts with. And the same can be said for Christoph Waltz. It's probably actually the best movie I've ever seen him in, because he was Blofeld, Inspector. And to tell the truth, he was actually one of the better aspects of that movie. And then, of course, there was when he was Bludnovsky from The Green Hornet. We tried to forget about that movie. But, and, you know, even seeing the likes of Jennifer Connelly in this. I mean, the last movie I'd ever seen Jennifer in where she's one of the principal characters or characters that is going to go somewhere with this. I haven't seen her in anything this major since 2003's Hulk, and we all know how that turned out. Because, seriously, that movie was terrible. But yeah, I liked her performance in that, even though, you know, her screen time is limited, so it focuses on the other principal characters, and of course, Alita herself. Again, the pacing is decent. I felt like the movie could have slowed down a little bit in places to where you can sort of let things sort of decompress, but I can't fault any of the actors' performances. No, so writing could be better. Casting is just absolutely great. The score, let's see. The score for this was done by Tom Holkenborg. Never heard his work before this movie, but you know, he did his job for the movie. It did what it needed to, as and where applicable, to have these moments of joy, sadness, triumph, and wonder. So yeah, I can't fault the score. Because this is a James Cameron movie that he's producing, you know he's going to go to town with the visual effects and the chroma keying, and this is probably some of the finest work that he's done with visual effects and chroma keying, probably since Avatar. Which, by the way, where's Avatar 2? We're waiting. But couldn't fault that. Really well done, and I really like the work that they did on making Rosa look as authentic and as faithful to the design from the original manga series, by, you know, having the eyes, you know, exaggeratedly enlarged, and so it's faithful to the characters, or, you know, to the character's original look, but at the same time it works within the context of a live-action movie, because, you know, this is one of those disappointments when, you know, either an animated series, or a video game, or anime, or manga is translated to live-action. There are certain aspects that are not going to get translated too well in the trade-off. There are certain things that are going to be toned down. And this is the same thing with the live-action Sonic the Hedgehog movie that's being made by Paramount, because Tim Miller, who's one of the executive producers, there are certain things that aren't going to translate into live-action film, and I know some people are still causing up a stink about the teaser silhouette of Sonic. There are some things that are just not going to translate well into live action. It's in the same reason, like, you know, you cannot get Megatron to go from a small, the size of a small handgun, into a 20-foot robot. It's like, it doesn't work. You know, there's some things that, if it was trying to be comedic on purpose, then alright, you could look the other way. But because it's trying to take itself seriously, there are certain things that just don't make the trade. And in the same context with Alita, I feel like they probably try to keep the look of Alita as faithful as possible, but at the same time try to make it work as realistically as possible, which, you know, is how movies are done these days. All in all, I was pleasantly surprised with this. This is a movie that had been in the works for so many years, and I know that James Cameron had been particularly hands-on because he is such a huge fan of manga and anime, because if you look at on the back of most copies of Ghost in the Shell, whether it's DVD or Blu-ray, you'll see these little quotations from James Cameron, and the same thing with Blood the Last Vampire. There's like quotes from him. It makes me wonder, had James Cameron directed Blood the Last Vampire and Ghost in the Shell, just imagine how much different those movies would have been. Just think about that a minute. But yeah, I absolutely love this movie. I think it's... Is this going to be possibly the movie to break the curse of anime, live-action adaptations of anime where it's done right compared to, you know, what we've seen in the past, like I say, with the likes of Dragon Ball Evolution, Ghost in the Shell, and Blood the Last Vampire? Is this the one? Is this the one to break the curse? I sincerely hope so. But, you know, don't take my word for it. Go and see it for yourself. If you're a fan of the original source material, you'll probably find things that don't sync up too well. But at the end of the day, I'm just offering my opinion as a reviewer because, again, like I say, I've never seen, you know, the original source material. I can only go by what I've seen here. But from what I've seen here, it's worth a look.